Well, I did go on a little trip. I don't get to go on many trips, so this was a lot of fun. My dad and I decided that we were going to go to the biggest little city in the world, Reno, and we went there for a little coin show. But just south of Reno, about 15 miles, is a town that you may have heard of, a town called Carson City.
Yeah,
And
I've heard of it.
yeah, right. I think most coin guys, especially American coin guys, have heard of it.
Mm.
So we took a little trip, a day trip down to Carson City. So I wanted to kind of, I took some pictures, I took some videos. We're just going to run through this stuff, you guys, and I'm going to kind of show you what we did, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's check this out. Aha. So if you've never been out in this part of the world, it's absolutely beautiful. There's mountains everywhere. There's straight roads. This was actually us coming south out of Reno towards Carson City, the 15 miles through the Sierra Nevada mountains here. This was, we kind of took the scenic route to get there, but it's just absolutely beautiful out there. There's lakes and mountains, and this was what you had to look at. And I caught myself imagining what this place was like in the 1870s when they founded the mint out here, and the kind of people that were out here enjoying the same views that I was having now for the most part. And here's us kind of coming into Carson City, hopping off the interstate. And this, my friends, is what the Carson City Mint looks like today. Now, it has been repurposed as the Nevada State Museum at this point. Inside of the building is all relatively modern. But the stone building itself and the beautiful steel shutters on the windows are still there, along with a couple other things. Now, this was one of my most favorite things that I took a video of, and these are defaced U.S. coin dies they had on exhibit. Now, they had a seated half-dollar die, an 1885 Morgan silver dollar die. They had a $10 Liberty die and a $20 Liberty die. Authentic Carson City dies on display that had been canceled with an X mark. Now, I'm sorry for the video guys. I am no videographer, just like I am no podcaster. But I got the best pictures I could behind the glass. I tried to get them to let me play with these. They wouldn't. So
Those are cool.
those are super cool. And,
Super, super cool.
and with the provenance that these have, if they were available on the market, they're easily six figures a piece, if not more. So you're looking at $500,000 probably right there or more,
I
just in
think
those
it's
four
for nobody
pieces.
owns them.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing that they were saved for some reason for posterity's sake by the mint, and they were on display. There was a lot of really cool stuff on display before you actually got to the centerpiece of their collection, which we're going to see here in just a minute. They had a lot of really neat stuff in the display cases. They have, like as you can see back behind it, they had a bag. Here is kind of a display window that showed a bunch of stuff from the assayer's office that they had. They had the scales, they had the different chemical jars. And over here on the right-hand side, they had this really cool book, which I found very interesting. I actually stood there and looked at it for about 10 minutes. And this was the register of the Carson City Mint from 1870 up until 1893. So basically, anybody that visited the mint had to sign in where they were from.
So that is just a register of people rather than a register of transactions.
Right. Register of people that came to visit the mint, whether it was for business or otherwise.
And that is the entirety of the history of that mint, 1870 to 1893,
Yes.
and that's it.
Yep, that's it. Oh, I'm sorry, May 1871. So here is the coolest part, I think, of the Carson City Mint's collection. This is coin press number 1 from the Carson City Mint. This was originally a steam-powered coin press that was used at the Carson City Mint to strike everything that they struck. This was the first press that made it to the mint when they opened. It was sent back to Philadelphia and then sent back to the mint later to be put on display. Now you can see right behind the gentleman here, this guy was actually really nice. I met him. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, and I'm so sorry. Very nice guy. He actually sat here and talked about the mint, talked about the machine, talked about the flywheel there. That was what causes, what is used to strike the coins, to provide the force to strike the coins. Today it's powered by an electric motor, But back in the time it was actually used, it was powered by steam. And now he said that this particular press could strike about 100 coins a minute. Now, can you imagine striking 100 coins a minute with this thing with that 1,000-pound flywheel swinging around?
Now, is that one coin or is that two next to each other?
That is one coin at a time. As you can see here,
That's almost two per second.
I know, isn't that insane? So in the front here of the machine was what looks like what's left of the old feeding mechanism. They were doing it by hand here, and I'm sure they didn't have the feeding mechanism up and running. But as you can see, if you go to the gift shop in Carson City, they actually sell these little certificates, and they allow you to go over here and have them strike you a token. This is him striking my tokens. And you can see his very, very efficient ejection system, which is a stick. But they sit there and they strike their tokens for you. So there he slides the blank, and there's the lady showing the token. And as you can see, here he goes again, striking it, and then the press pulls up, and your token is made. He said that flywheel provides about 100,000 pounds of force.
Now, was that hot when it came out?
I don't know. I didn't grab it. They don't hand it right to you. They take it out. But yep, here he goes, striking another one. And again, like I said, today it's powered by an electric motor, but back during its operation at the Mint, it was powered by steam. So I could only imagine what these guys went through that were actually striking the coins in Carson City.
Mm-hmm.
I have some other pictures which I'm going to be sharing on social media. He let me actually come around this glass area that they had and play with the machine, not necessarily like punch the button, but take a look at anything I wanted to. So I have some close-up pictures of the coining chamber, of the plates on the machine that talk about where it was made, when it was made. So I have all that. I'm going to be sharing that on our social media pages over the next few days. So keep your eyes out there. But this was these guys actually striking these tokens, these souvenir tokens, on this original coin press. Now this is a really cool piece too. This is directly opposite the coin press. This is the Carson City Mint collection of everything they struck. So they have an example of every coin they struck at the Carson City Mint on display for you to look at.
Wow.
Yep.
All is circulated.
No, not necessarily. That was the thing. That was what really was interesting to me about the Mint.
So they probably had to go back and acquire some of them.
Right. They had quite a few coins on display, but contrary to popular thought, like I had the same thought you did going in. I thought, okay, cool. They have one that they saved from every,
Sure.
from every striking. They're going to have it on display. No, they did not. They had circulated coins. Their 1889 Carson City dollar was like a fine. They had a trade dollar. One of the trade dollars they had a hole in it. So it was actually really interesting to see. Now here's another cool thing. This is more on some of the assay stuff. They would get these big bullion bars in from the mines, or their assayers, and then they would actually have to turn them into blanks. So this was some of the tools they used to do that.
Purify it into silver and gold.
Yep. So very cool stuff. They had an original bag. Yeah, here's some of the coins that they had on display. So here's some of the seeded dollars. As you can see, they're not all uncirculated. There are some circulated coins in there, which I thought, again, Carson City Mint, they're going to have, some really super nice examples on hand. But no, they just had some of the coins were actually circulated, like 1878 here. You can see from the picture, that coin's like an extra fine. That's not a hard coin to find, so I was kind of surprised by that. But, for the average non-coin person, they can look at that and see an example of every one. And then you can see in the picture here, here's that trade dollar that had the hole in it. So, I was kind of impressed by the fact that they didn't have brand new stuff out. And then they have examples of all the different things that they struck. You see the $20 gold piece, the 10, the 5, the seeded dollar, the trade dollar, the Morgan dollar, the seeded half, the seeded quarter, the Liberty seeded 20-cent piece, and then the dimes. So, that was kind of the tour that I took of the Mint. They had other stuff on display, and here's the other side of that collection that they had out. And some of these coins have mintages. If you look, some of the coins they have on display here have mintages of 1,700 coins. They had some really rare stuff in there. And this was behind a vault door, behind a gated door, so you couldn't look at it at all. Yeah. So that was kind of my trip. It was a day trip. We got to see the parts of the mint that I was really, really interested in. And I just wanted to share with you guys some of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed my look at the Carson City Mint. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.